Some technical facts that I think are cool to mention. George Lucas got the inspiration for the word Wookiee while editing THX 1138. This actor, who was doing voiceover work for the police in THX, improvised the line, "I think I ran over a Wookiee back there." Lucas, confused, asked what he meant by that, and the actor said, "I don't know, the word just popped into my head."
That's sweet. That's cool.
And there's actually a reference, like Lucas makes a trademark of referencing THX 1138 a lot.
Yeah.
Like when Han and Luke take Chewie up to like pretend he's a prisoner, and the Imperial Guard's like, "Where are you taking this thing?" Luke says, "Prisoner transfer from subblock 1138.
Oh yeah. How did I notice that? That's funny.
And the lightsaber sound effect is a combination of the hum of an idling 35mm movie projector and the feedback generated by passing a stripped microphone cable by a television.
That's sweet.
Fun sound effect. Fact. When the Ark of the Covenant in Raiders of the Lost Ark has its lid lifted, the sound effect is the sound of a toilet seat lid being lifted.
That's funny. You know what I didn't know until a while ago is that Godzilla's roar was made with like stringed instruments, like cellos and shit.
Cool.
Yeah.
And the sound of the snakes, I could be getting this wrong, but the sound of the snakes in Raiders slithering in the Soul Wells was achieved by the sound artist squishing his fingers through a casserole.
That's even grosser than stealing the snakes.
You ever been around a lot of snakes?
I wouldn't say a lot, but you know.
My ex-stepdad had a lot of pet snakes, so I don't know if I've been around a lot, but I've been close to a lot, so kind of get the whole snake thing.
Yeah, I'm not afraid of snakes. I know a lot of people that are, but I think they're okay.
So I actually held a huge snake once.
Oh, yeah.
At a convention. My ex-stepdad took me to a reptile convention.
Yeah.
And I got to hold one.
You have a picture of that? I thought I've seen that picture. I just remember you telling me the story.
I don't have any pictures. Moving on to another cool fact. Harrison Ford, for the scene where he's trying to distract the guard over the intercom, and he's stumbling, acting pretty awkward for Han Solo.
Yeah.
To sound genuinely unprepared, Harrison Ford did not memorize his lines before filming.
Yeah.
Ford apparently said this about the script. "You can type this shit, but you can't say it."
Yeah. He made several lines better by improvising them.
Mm-hmm.
Like the "I know."
Yeah.
One of the most classic lines ever.
But not this. It's not from this movie.
Nope.
I have to mention him. Also, just because it wouldn't be right not to. Rest in peace to Kenny Baker as well. R2. The most badass little droid in the galaxy.
For sure. I always wondered how he piloted that thing.
A lot of actors were considered for the role of Han Solo. Some of these included Al Pacino, which I just can't see. And
That'd be awesome.
Christopher Walken.
Wow.
Princess.
Princess, I can't do a walking at all.
Neither can I. Your worshipfulness. Your worshipful...
I can't. I'm not even gonna try. I can't do a walking.
Two very interesting actors who auditioned for Han Solo were Sylvester Stallone This would be right after he did Rocky.
Yeah.
And this actor I could see as Han Solo. Kurt Russell.
Yeah, I can totally see Kurt Russell, especially after seeing Big Trouble. He
Yeah.
could totally be like fun enough to be Han Solo.
Who's gonna pilot, kid? You. It's all in the reflexes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And 2 more trivia facts, and then we're gonna get into the characters in this movie. Anthony Daniels as C-3PO. The first day that he tried on the C-3PO costume, he took 1 or 2 steps in the costume, and the entire lower half shattered. Yep.
Wow.
They really had to work hard with that thing. And any scene where C-3PO was sitting down, they had to disassemble the costume, the lower half, and then reassemble it.
Jeez, you wouldn't think it'd be that complicated.
Before they knew about fiberglass.
Yeah.
And the shot of them lifting up C-3PO and then the wipe going up with him,
Yeah.
that was to hide the fact that underneath the camera, Anthony Daniels was wearing black spandex. And Peter Cushing as Grand Moff Tarkin found the boots he had to wear for the character very uncomfortable. So he only wore them for the shots that were like wide and showed his whole body. For any shots that didn't include his legs, Peter Cushing wore fuzzy slippers.
That's funny.
That's just a funny image. Grand Moff Tarkin walking around giving orders, commanding Darth Vader with fuzzy slippers.
Kind of fitting for him, I feel.
Okay, now that we've given enough trivia to put you to sleep, let's get into the cast of this movie. The main players are Mark Hamill as Luke Skywalker. What do you think of Mark Hamill's performance?
I mean, I love Mark Hamill. It's like very hammy and like kind of cheesy, but like, you know, it works.
Mark Hamill said that he deliberately played up the whininess of Luke so that his portrayal in the sequels could show Luke some development and growth.
Yeah, for sure, and they do.
Because by Return of the Jedi...
He's badass, dude.
Yeah, he was really intimidating.
Yeah.
And the one line that he admits is still hard for him to watch is, I was going to pick up some power converters!
Yeah, I was thinking it's so like grating. I was going to go pick up some power converters!
And that moment where he's just playing with the toy ship.
Yeah.
He's doing something that you expect from someone half his age.
Yeah.
But he delivered his lines pretty well. He came off like a kid who has never left home and is unprepared, but he adapts pretty well to the change in his surrounding.
Rewatching this, I didn't realize what a like good old farm boy he really is.
Yeah.
It's like such a classic, you know, like hero's tale of like taking someone out of their like little farm life.
Yeah.
And, you know, he's like, oh, I used to do this back home, and I used to do that back home, and now I'm doing it in space.
Harrison Ford as Han Solo.
AKA the only actor with a career after the movie.
Oh,
Just kidding, Mark Hamill had an extensive voice acting career.
He is the Joker.
He is.
Mark Hamill did this funny thing at a convention where he went, Luke, it's me, the Clown Prince of Crime, and also your father.
That wasn't bad, that Joker.
Thank you. And Heath Ledger's portrayal. And I thought my jokes were bad. Ta-da! Ah, it's gone.
How about Nicholson?
I'm glad you're dead. I can't do Nicholson.
Nicholson's underrated. He's a fun Joker.
And then there's the one that no one really counts, Cesar Romero from the 1960s Batman.
Oh, yeah.
With Adam West.
Yeah.
He's like,
I got it, Robin.
Harrison Ford is just incredible. The first moment he's on screen, you know he's the ultimate badass of this movie.
He's so charming. He's just so charismatic and suave and cute. He's the best.
Everything.
Yeah.
And he just has so much. He commands so much when he's on screen, and
It makes George Lucas's wooden dialogue sound, human.
yeah. And George Lucas almost didn't cast him because Ford had been in American Graffiti, and Lucas only wanted fresh faces.
Yeah.
But even he conceded because Ford was simply too good not to pass up. He almost didn't cast Harrison Ford. Like Lucas, he was only the producer, but he almost did not cast Harrison Ford in Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah, that would have been a mistake.
Because he was afraid that Ford was becoming to George Lucas what De Niro was to Scorsese.
Yeah.
He didn't want one specific actor that he always worked with.
Yeah.
Get with the program, George.
Stick with what works.
And apparently he didn't.
No.
And the moment at the end where... you think that Darth Vader... The first time you see it anyway, where Darth Vader might get Luke, and then the TIE fighter, I believe, is shot out. He's like, what? And then we see, Yahoo! That just lights me up every
That's
time.
Awesome. Dude, when we were watching it tonight, I was thinking during that final combat scene how much it puts the wars in Star Wars. More than any of the other movies. Usually in the other movies it's a duel or a one-on-one kind of confrontation, but this one is very much warfare. And the way everybody's talking to each other very calmly, because it's all war jargon,
And I love how...
There's no little music.
I love how all the fighters, the red fighters, the gold fighters, just how devoted they are as, I guess, soldiers.
For sure, they all just let themselves die.
Yeah.
For the mission.
Biggs especially, and the guy who was behind Red Leader.
Yeah.
They knew they were gonna die.
They were like, we gotta get out, we gotta get out, we gotta get out.
But they stayed in there.
They stayed in, yeah.
Yeah, because they knew that them getting killed was the only thing slowing down Vader from getting to the others.
It's intense.
And then Ford delivers one of the most... there's a lot of double entendre lines in this. But he's like, you're all clear, kid. Let's blow this thing and go home.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I couldn't resist. And then... Stand by.
What a scene.
Epic. And before we move on, I just want to say, I think my favorite scene in Star Wars, and it's not even one of the most epic scenes, it's the first time the Millennium Falcon goes into light speed.
That scene's awesome.
Yeah,
it's just one of the coolest visual effects ever.
Yeah, just to see the stars get those bright lines the first time.
Yeah.
Every time I see that scene, and I've seen it at this point probably almost 100 times, when that happens, I literally feel it. I almost feel like I'm being sucked back a little.
That's awesome.
Just feel the chill go up my spine, and I feel like the movie, it was already great, but now it's fully come alive. And the late, great Carrie Fisher as Princess Leia. She did a very good job.
She's a wonderful woman.
The character... Princess Leia is probably the most developed, or the character that changed the most, I think. Well, next to Luke.
Yeah.
But Princess Leia really changed a lot. She was very tight-assed in the first film. Well, in two ways. And a bit bitchy, but you could kind of understand that. Being I don't know if she was a general at this point, but she was part of this army. But the way
she's the boss. She's a badass woman.
The way she warmed up to Han as the films went on, the development of the relationships was great, and most importantly, Princess Leia kicks legitimate ass. Even when she's captured, even when she has to be rescued, one wrong move on the other person's part, and you're dead.
Yeah, even she watches her home planet get blown up. She's still lying. She's still trying to protect the rebellion. Yeah, if only she could figure out that Luke's her brother and stop kissing him.
People like to give Luke a lot of shit, saying that you should stop kissing your sister, when in every instance, it was fucking Leia who kissed Luke!
That's true. Yeah.
Why does everybody give Luke all the shit about this?
Because, Luke's the one who's all like, ooh, I want to kiss her, she's cute.
This kind of shit is weird. Like, yes, they are siblings, but they didn't know at the time.
True.
But wait, in the latter films, she's like, I've always known. Which makes you wonder,
I mean, their dad had some issues too, so.
Yeah, murder's okay, incest not so much. And on to the only actor who actually got an Oscar nomination for his performance, Alec Guinness as Obi-Wan Kenobi, aka Ben. He's pretty good.
He's cool. But watching it this time, I never realized how much he looks like a crazy old guy who accidentally walked onto the set. His hair's all a mess. He really looks like he's a crazy old guy.
He is definitely the best actor. Well, he and Peter Cushing, the Brits are the best actors in this.
Yeah.
I mean, Harrison Ford is great, but there's a certain elegance to the Brits that you just don't see anywhere else.
They also have deep histories of being good actors.
Oh, Guinness, Lawrence of Arabia.
Yeah.
The simple way he says his lines, if the ship's as good as his boasting, we ought to do well. I just like the way he says that line.
Yeah.
What were your feelings when Obi-Wan died?
Originally?
Yeah.
I can't even remember, so long ago. I remember being confused that he disappeared. I was like, what the hell? Where'd he go? And I wasn't sure if that was just a bad effect or if he was coming back. Now when I look at it, it's very beautiful and makes a lot of sense, but...
First time I saw it, I was just what? I was just surprised.
Yeah.
Because I loved Obi-Wan.
It's funny how enormous his influence on this franchise is when he's really only on the screen for half of the first movie.
And interestingly enough, Darth Vader in the first Star Wars movie only has 12 minutes of screen time.
That makes sense. I feel like Vader's always kind of saved. I feel like they don't put him on the screen too much, and I think that's a good idea. Because it gives weight when he's on the screen,
I haven't seen it yet, but I heard they kind of did that for Rogue One.
Dude, the Vader scene, if you think Rogue One's going to be bad or whatever, I think you should watch it alone for the Vader scene. Because the Vader scene is amazing.
I'll take your word for it, because I have a history with you, and I know your taste in movies.
Yeah.
I think I do.
I mean, the Vader scene, the cool thing about the Vader scene in that is that, it reminds us that Vader is a fucking badass, murdering soldier. And that he kills for, a living.
Understood.
It's awesome.
And then there's Anthony Daniels as C-3PO, and Kenny Baker as R2-D2. Anthony Daniels is hilarious. He is great comic relief.
Yeah.
And the relationship between C-3PO and R2 is great. It borders on close friends to almost romantic.
Yeah.
But it's pretty hilarious. It's an almost abusive relationship in a way.
Yeah.
Like, C-3PO is always giving R2 shit and even hitting him a few times.
Yeah.
But it's pretty clear he loves him.
Yeah.
And he would be devastated if they never saw each other again.
We also don't really know what R2's saying to him. R2's probably being a little shit, too.
In the original script, R2 could talk. And a lot of his dialogue was profanity.
Yeah.
But they thought it'd be funnier if we didn't know what he was saying.
I like to believe that R2's still swearing.
Yeah,
Just
like,
in his own language.
I don't remember which moment, but there's a particular moment where R2's like, and it's supposed to be like, fuck you. And, Kenny Baker, my friend Mike actually did not know until a few weeks ago that R2 was played by an actual person.
Yeah.
And, Kenny Baker, he is part of the Star Wars legacy. But you do have to wonder why they, what does an actor do when playing R2?
He like spins. I was thinking about this the whole time. He like spins the head. Right? He's got to do that.
Yeah. But the scenes where he's moving...
Yeah, are they dragging it, or is it like...
Couldn't they...
wheel-powered?
Do they have a remote control?
Yeah, I have no idea.
I really can't figure out what exactly Kenny Baker did for R2.
Yeah.
And, but R2 is...
Probably has some buttons that he, like, activates the lights.
R2 is definitely a lovable character.
Yeah.
My favorite exchanges between them is when 3PO's like, no, about Luke. No, I don't think he likes you. I don't like you either.
Yeah. Yeah.
And,
no, I don't like you either.
And the most emotional scene with R2 is when Luke is going on the Death Star at the end and he gets hit, and R2 gets hit, and you don't know what happens to him until the end. In that moment, I just felt like that. Especially when Luke was like, I lost R2.
You know, when you think about it, R2's the only one who's there the whole time. Like, even, like, I mean, from, like, episode 1 to episode 6.
If you count the prequels as canon.
If you count the prequels as canon, R2 is the only overarching hero of the entire story.
In a way, yes. And it's amazing that his gears are still working.
Yeah.
And, I know we've already gone off on like 20 fucking tangents probably at this point, but I have to bring this up. Something that always bugs me when I watch the original Star Wars movies is the treatment of the droids. I mean, I'm not gonna be some social justice warrior.
Yeah, they treat the droids as, like, less than human.
Yeah, like
even Luke does.
Yeah, like the scene where Uncle Owen says to Luke, I want you to take that droid out and have its memory erased.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, it wouldn't bug me so much if it wasn't for the fact that the droids, all of them, even ones other than even ones other than 3PO and R2, clearly have personalities.
Yeah, and can talk and think and feel.
Yeah, I mean, the memory erasing and treating them less than human wouldn't bug me if you didn't give them basically souls.
For sure.
I mean,
it's like the unsung, you know.
When you give them thoughts and feelings, it's almost cruel and evil.
Yeah. Yeah, like even like Luke when he's meeting C-3PO and R2, he's like, "This is R2," and Luke's like, "Hello," like he's talking to like a piece of, you know, equipment.
Yeah, just the droids, like the bigotry, like the racism 3PO has towards the Jawas, I think is just because they sold them.
Yeah, they're fucking slave traders.
Yeah, and the scene in the bar, like, "Your
We don't
droids,
serve your kind here.
Get out!" Yeah, like they made the droids the niggers of the Star Wars universe. They kind of did.
Yeah, they sure did.
Just, wow, did the droids get the short end. And it's even worse in the prequels. Like, in the prequels, and in the prequels, we see that R2 and C-3PO knew Padme and Anakin, Luke and Leia's parents. So, you wonder, for the first two movies, how do 3PO and R2 not know about all of this in the original trilogy? And then at the end of Revenge of the Sith, Leia's adopted father says about 3PO, wipe this droid's memory, to explain why they don't know anybody.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fucked up.
Yeah, just... The droids are treated so horribly.
Yeah. It's the unsung, like, you know...
And remember the clones in Attack of the Clones?
Yeah.
How they were raised from birth to be an army and never disobey orders? It may sound... Maybe we're overthinking this, but we're Star Wars fans. It's what we do. I believe the Star Wars universe endorses slavery.
Dude,
like, condones slavery.
Dude. In the Clone Wars, it's just two slave armies fighting each other.
Yeah.
It's the droid army
and the clone
army.
What the fuck, man?
Yeah. Dude, this is the secret plot of Star Wars. Is that everyone in the series is evil.
And Peter Mayhew as Chewbacca. He was great.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not much of a speaking role. It's more of a physical role, but physical, like body movement acting, can do a lot. Can convey a lot.
That's where film acting started.
Like facial acting is something I have a lot of respect for, and even though we don't see his face, like Chewbacca is just like he could break your arms, but he's a very lovable, soft character.
Yeah.
Especially in the sequels, we got to see him more on the loving side.
Yeah.
And last but not least of the main cast, David Prowse and James Earl Jones as Darth Vader. David Prowse has a good, intimidating figure, but with his very thick British accent, it just wouldn't be right for Darth Vader.
Yeah, they work best together.
And Prowse is still bitter to this day that he was dubbed as Darth Vader. Because from what I read, he didn't know until the premiere of the movie.
Oh, man.
Which was kind of a dick move on the filmmaker's part.
Yeah. Hope he didn't bring a hot date to the premiere.
According to what I heard, his nickname, because of his accent, was Darth Farmer. And James Earl Jones is excellent. He has an amazing voice. Good, deep, and smooth. I just want to mention these actors. Phil Brown as Uncle Owen and Shillong Fraser as Aunt Beru. They were a good family. The foreshadowing, and we're not going to give away the twist ending to Empire. I just feel like there might be some people who actually still haven't seen it.
Yeah.
I will say this, the foreshadowing where Aunt Beru says, Luke's just not a farmer, Owen. He has too much of his father in him. Then Owen says, that's what I'm afraid of.
Yeah.
When you see the whole trilogy, that scene just carries so much more to it.
Yeah.
Alex McCrindle as General Dodonna, who is the actual person to first say, may the Force be with you.
Classic.
He had a good deep voice.
Yeah.
And he laid out the battle plan pretty well.
Yeah.
The Rebel fighters don't get enough credit. Drew Henley as Red Leader. Very devoted soldier, I'd say. And apparently the only Texan in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah.
I mean, that accent, he's clearly from the South.
Yeah.
Even when he knew he was going, he just told them to set up for their attack.
Yeah. True classic army man.
Dennis Lawson as Wedge Antilles.
Yep.
The only rebel fighter other than Luke to make it through the whole trilogy.
Yep.
Wedge is awesome.
Wedge is the man, dude.
And Dennis Lawson, it probably says a lot for him to appear in all three of the originals.
Yeah.
Just cool, and if we seem a little down in energy, we've been at this a while, and I only got about 4 hours of sleep last night.
Yeah.
Garrick Hagan as Biggs.
Biggs. Rest in peace, Biggs.
Biggs was awesome. He protected Luke to the very end. And he had a killer mustache. And, of course, William Hootkins as Red Six, aka Porkins.
First one to go.
I remember we watched the original Star Wars a few years ago, and you said you felt sad when Porkins died.
It's always sad.
Just the way he screams as it blows up.
Yeah, Porkins was not as much of a soldier as the rest, I feel.
And, William Hootkins, he's been in a lot of movies. He was in Raiders of the Lost Ark. He was the government agent who said to Indiana Jones, "We have top men working on it."
Top men.
Yep. And in Tim Burton's Batman, William Hootkins was Lieutenant Eckhart. The stubbly fat cop who was on the criminal's payroll.
I never knew that was Porkins. That's funny.
Yeah, that's him. And the gold fighters with the red fighters at the end, they don't get enough credit. I think the gold fighters are just as equally badass. And the gold fighter that's my personal favorite, like you say you love Porkins, me, I love Gold 5, played by Graham Ashley. He's the one who's like, "Stay on target, stay on target." Just like how firm he is when he says that.
Yeah.
And he's not even the leader of that group.
Yeah.
But he's directing this to the gold leader.
Yeah. Yeah, he's intense.
Yeah, he did a good job for his very brief role.
Yeah.
Just love it. Stay on target.
Yeah. And they don't even get the shot.
Hey man, war doesn't always work out the way you want it.
No.
And Richard Leparmentier, that's quite a mouthful of a name, as General Motti, the one who Darth Vader chokes and says, "I find your lack of faith disturbing." He was a guy you just want to see get it.
Yeah, he's a prick.
So stuck up and snobby.
Your devotion to your ancient ways, your sorcery.
And believe it or not, neither of us has had any alcohol tonight. I learned my lesson from Big Trouble. And that's about it for the cast. And there's a lot I could go into about the original Star Wars, but this whole video has pretty much been old history just told from with a different presentation from me and Matt, which I hope has been entertaining. This has been a lot of fun. Rewatching this classic film, this industry-changing film, just was a blast again. Glad you could do it with me.
Yes.
Did you enjoy yourself tonight?
Yes, I did. It's good to reconnect to the Force.
Definitely. And the last person I need to mention is Gary Kurtz, the producer of the original Star Wars. Without him, we wouldn't have the original Star Wars or The Empire Strikes Back.
True.
And he left after Empire because, as he put it, George wanted to focus more on the special effects, while Kurtz wanted to focus more on developing and story.
Classic.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate the original Star Wars?
That's tough. I mean, giving it anything other than a 10 feels wrong, you know? Even though I don't think it probably is a 10, I gotta give it a 10.
I would give it, because I guess I don't have much guilt, I'd give it a 9.5.
Yeah.
I love it, but, and this may sound weird because I keep saying I love it so much. Out of all the original trilogy films, I think the first Star Wars would have to be, if I had to choose with a gun to my head, my least favorite. Like, my favorite is Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
And then Empire is my second favorite. So naturally...
Yeah, I can't give New Hope a 10, though, if Empire's a 10, you know?
Hey. Star Wars. We don't go by that alternate title that they add in after Empire shit.
True.
Get with the program, my man.
You're right. You are right.
And I feel a good note to go out on would be this story. Could you read this right here?
In 2010, George Lucas and Damon Lindelof and Carlton Cuse, the executive producers of TV's Lost, a letter congratulating them on the show's end and letting them in on some possibly facetious secrets about its development of the Star Wars movie series. Don't tell anyone, but when Star Wars first came out, I didn't know where it was going either. The trick is to pretend you've planned the whole thing out in advance. Throw in some father issues and references to other stories. Let's call them homages. And you've got a series. Classic George.
Yep. This review has been us both praising this amazing film while also simultaneously shitting on its creator.
Yeah.
Hey, the way of the Star Wars fans, we are not rooted in simple stupidity. I think we gave a little bit of intelligence to this review.
Yeah.
Like, I do genuinely think it's a great film, and I'm tired of repeating myself. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. And if you have seen it, watch it again.
Happy 40 years.
40 years, man. Here's to the next 10. Later.
May the Force be with you.
Always.